Hello, everyone. It's me, Clayton. I just finished watching Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, the adaptation in anime form of the Scott Pilgrim story that's animated by Science Saru and directed by the same guy who did the Toby short from Star Wars Visions. Now, Scott Pilgrim has had many successful adaptations over the years, from its original comic form to its video game adaptation to the Edgar Wright film from 2010. Now, 13 years after that film, the cast from that movie gets to voice their characters yet again in a story that seems like the typical Scott Pilgrim story you know, but ends up being something far different by the time the series is over. So the story once again follows Scott, played once again by Michael Cera, as he's a member of Sex Bomb in Canada, and he's currently dating a high schooler named Knives Chow. But when he meets Ramona Flowers, who in this version is a Netflix DVD employee played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead again, he falls in love with her, and she seems to have a similar feeling for him after just one date. But this gets the evil X's on Scott Pilgrim's tail. But when he meets the first one, Matthew Patel, it seems that Scott either is defeated or he happens to have been sent to another world. So that means Ramona has to find out what happened to Scott, who's responsible for sending him to another dimension, and she has to find out how to get him back before the evil X's end up going into a completely alternate time, a series of events that lead to the characters you know ending up in totally different areas from what you remember them. So yeah, this is basically an alternate version of Scott Pilgrim that takes a look at what could have happened if certain events transpired differently. For example, if Scott didn't defeat Matthew Patel at the near the start of the film, and what if Ramona Flowers was given more of a protagonist role as opposed to a supporting character role? Now, some people might see this as a total bait and switch, but to me, I actually really like this concept. If they just made an animated version of the movie, there wouldn't be much of a reason to watch the anime. So, taking the alternate universe route and adding time travel, alternate versions of Scott and Ramona, and getting to see more of the lives of the evil X's outside of their fights does make for a rather entertaining idea. Plus, I love the fact that the evil X's especially get to really play with their characters and do a lot more than you'd expect with them. Jason Schwartzman as Gideon, Chris Evans as Lucas Lee, Mae Whitman as Roxy Richter. They get to do quite a bit more here than they did in the original film. Even other characters like Aubrey Plaza's character Julie are really entertaining in this version, and they get to really play with expressions and higher emotions and more bombastic reactions because it is anime after all. Same goes with the fight scenes, which really get to play around with Science Saru's strengths when it comes to color, speed, and simple character designs that are made for fluid motion. On top of that, the music is still really good here, as you'd expect from an animated series that has an indie band on hand. And on top of that, the the story itself, especially the last two episodes, get to really delve more into Scott's character in a way that I didn't expect them to initially. I'm just saying this could have easily just been a series that would have taken the easy way out of just rehashing the movie, maybe with a few added scenes and maybe with a ending that was more like how it was in the original comics. But they get to play around with these characters a lot more than you'd expect and actually make a story that even comic fans can appreciate for how it takes them completely off guard. So if you want to go into this blind, it's even more effective. But if you've seen the original movie or seen any other version of this property, it's still worth watching, in my opinion. Especially given the animated mayhem of Science Saru, and given how well the movie's cast works with these characters even after over a decade. Even the Japanese cast happens to get a lot of major stars, from Hiro Shimono to Kana Hanazawa. So that's why I'm going to give this series a 9 out of 10. See you next time.